maybe to see Skanska and ABB as next customers on that list. Sorry, you were done. So we're continuing with a new startup, Bitcrete, founded by Anna, and looking forward what exactly you're doing there.
Thank you for the introduction. It's great to be here today and present our ideas, even though we are really at the beginning. We started Bitcrete as a spin-off of our research ideas developed at ETH Zurich as part of the NCCR Digital Fabrication. And the question is, why is Bitcrete needed? We want to focus on concrete as this very versatile building material with excellent structural properties. And unlike common understanding, it is one of the materials in the construction sector with the lowest embedded CO2 per unit of mass. However, its largest impact comes from the large amounts of concrete we use. And this adds up to almost 8% of CO2 emissions in construction. So how can Bitcrete advance efficient and sustainable construction? I will try to answer these questions by showing different research projects developed collaboratively that were developed at the interface between research and application. So first of all, we have a large array of digital fabrication methods for concrete. We want to go from formwork to stay-in-place formwork and even to direct 3D printing of structural concrete. If we look at 3D printed formwork, we want to produce prefabricated elements or in situ casting to enhance the design aesthetic of concrete, but also use or reuse formwork for high complexity elements. If we want to use stay-in-place formwork, we take advantage of design freedom, functional integration, and of course, material saving. And here I want to talk about our first project, which was in collaboration with some amazing clients in Zurich. We had to develop a 16 square meter slab that was entirely prefabricated and used as a refurbishment slab for an existing house. This is an excellent example of where digital fabrication makes sense, because all these elements, even though they belong to the same family of forms, they were slightly adapted to fit the context. And they were printed using the Nubian vault approach, in which we have compression-only arches that are 3D printed in mid-air. The elements were assembled on-site with rebar placed afterwards to follow conventional construction. And overall, this project managed to save 20% of material of concrete used. Now I want to briefly talk about direct 3D printing of structural elements. And here we focus mostly on vertical building elements like columns and walls. And we have a large-scale demonstrator in which these structural elements are printed and where the printed material is part of the structure. This is the project Tor Alva, which is designed by Benjamin Dillenburger and Michael Hansmeyer for the Client Origin Foundation. And it is a 30-meter tall building in which the structural elements consist of branching columns with hyperbolic shapes that align to the slabs and floors for a direct transition of efforts. Unlike hollow columns, the structure of the vertical element also continues in the middle of the column for a direct transfer of loads, and the rebar is inserted into hollow channels that are later on grouted. The fabrication principle relies on 3 layers: the outer layer for ornamentation, the middle one for interlayer reinforcement, and the last one to integrate the main longitudinal reinforcement. One aspect that is really important in all the projects I have shown is design. We focus a lot on design because we see it as a way to achieve sustainable concrete construction. The core team consists of 3 people. We met during our doctoral studies at ETH Zurich, part of the NCCL digital fabrication. We have Andrei Zipa, architect and expert in 3D printed formwork. Lucas, structural engineer, specialized in reinforcement strategies for digital fabrication, and myself working with 3D concrete printing. This is all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. And
thank you. Thank you very much, Anna. We're looking forward how this startup continues, and maybe you can take something with you from this conference to scale.